Hi everyone, I'm Daisy Victoria, and welcome to a very special video celebrating a cultural tradition from my heritage. Today we are celebrating Saint Lucia, Santa Lucia, or in Swedish, Sankta Lucia. I am dressed as Lucia myself. This year I created a dress inspired by 16th century German artwork and reimagined as a fantasy dress. And I set up a photo shoot here in my house. Since I don't live in a winter landscape, I decided to do it indoors. By the way, if you'd like to see me create this dress, I will link to my vlog in the description. Sankta Lucia, or Saint Lucia, is a beloved Swedish Christmas tradition. Lucia is celebrated on December 13th, which was solstice on the old calendar. On the winter solstice, especially in northern regions, the daylight hours are extremely limited. And if you go far enough north, they're even non-existent. Many cultures have developed a festival of light, bringing light to the darkness at this time of year. This is a part of winter solstice or Yule. And in Sweden today, Christmas is still called Jul. Lucia wears a white dress with a red sash and a crown of candles upon her head. In Sweden, you will find Lucia pageants at businesses, schools, churches, and various places of gathering. Processions will even happen through the streets of towns. And if you are lucky enough to see one, they are quite magical. A Lucia is chosen for a pageant, and she wears the crown of candles on her head. Traditionally, these are real candles, but nowadays fake ones are often used. I have fake ones on my head. I may try out the real ones for some shots at the end, but we'll see. A Lucia procession includes Lucia's handmaidens, or ternor, and starboys, or stjärngossar. Sometimes there are additional characters, like gnomes or gingerbread men. Processions and roles continue to evolve with modern society. The Lucia procession sings beloved songs, and most Swedes know all the words. It is traditional to bake Lucia buns, also called lussekatter, which means Lucia cats, or lussebullar, Lucia buns. These buns are made with saffron, and I bake them once a year because they do require a bit of work. The saffron is steeped in warm milk or water, which is then used to create a semi-sweet dough. The dough is rolled into this shape, and a raisin is placed at the center of each spiral. Usually an egg-based glaze is used on the top of each bun, and I've used pearl sugar on mine, which is a traditional topping for Swedish baked goods. With a household or family celebration, it is traditional for the oldest daughter to be Lucia, with the crown of candles, and any siblings to be in the procession. Lucia would wake before dawn on December 13th and prepare a breakfast of lussekatter, or lussebullar, coffee, and perhaps even some of those great gingerbread cookies, pepparkakor. Lucia is a symbol of hope, bringing light in the darkest time of the year. So who was Lucia? Lucia was an Italian woman, martyred in the 4th century. Legend says that Lucia brought food to prisoners in Roman catacombs, and while her hands carried the food, she wore candles on her head to light her way. The red belt in the Lucia costume is actually a symbol of her martyrdom. Okay, so why do we celebrate an Italian saint in Sweden? If we look further back to the Middle Ages, and even long before that, Sweden already had a rich tradition of celebrating the winter solstice. We as humans live on this earth by seasons, and when you live further north, those seasons are even more extreme and influence your life in even greater ways. In Sweden, as with many cultures, it was traditional to light candles and to bring light to the darkest time of year. This is part of the Christmas or Yule festivities and dates back ages. As traditions came together and societies were Christianized, many of the old traditions were adapted. It makes sense that if you want to convince people to like your new ways, that you would give them some of the traditions that they already love. In this particular case, we somehow ended up with the Lucia holiday mashup we have today. It is said that a Benedictine monk brought the Lucia tradition to Sweden in the 9th century. And in Värmland, where my family is from, legend says that Lucia appeared on a vessel upon Lake Vänern, a sort of mystical savior bringing light and food during a famine. Vänern is a huge lake south of Karlstad, and if you look at the map, I'm sure you will see it, nearly midway between Oslo and Stockholm. I'm really proud to have roots in the same region as Lucia. By the way, if you have any more resources on the origins of how Lucia came to Sweden, please drop them in the comments because I'd love to read more about this. Christmas in Sweden is not a particularly religious holiday. I think it makes sense. With a history long predating Christianity, there's a rich timeline of celebrating the solstice that transcends any one religion. And while Sweden today is not known for being very religious, the Yule season is very beloved. In fact, Yule is often regarded now as more of a national holiday than a religious one. The red star you see in the background here is an Advent star. It's traditional to hang these in the window during Advent in Sweden. A red paper star is the most traditional, though now there are lots of different colors and designs and even artisan stars. Red is my favorite color, so I'm sticking with it. Another Christmas tradition in Sweden is the goat, or julbock. And sometimes Lucia is included in images with the julbock. In fact, I have a rather sizable one myself, and I've posed with my julbock as Lucia before, though it's presently in storage, so you'll have to make do with these photos. The goat draws directly from pagan origins. In Norse mythology, Thor's chariot is drawn by goats, and this tradition found its way into modern Sweden. In fact, each year there is a national goat. It's very large and made of straw. Sometimes the national julbock survives the season, and sometimes it is burned. And speaking of other characters who accompany Lucia, such as gnomes, which are sometimes included in the procession, jultomta, or Christmas gnome, or Yule gnome, I guess, is Sweden's version of Santa. In Sweden, children leave porridge for jultomta, who brings them presents. I have chosen to continue celebrating Lucia in my own way. Perhaps it's an excuse to dress up. Can't deny that one. I've created several elaborately designed Lucia gowns, and this is one of my favorite ways to celebrate the holiday. This year, my gown is based on 16th century German artwork, and I do have a vlog showing how I made it, which I will link to. If you live in a large US city, you may find a Lucia pageant. Obviously, this year is a little different, but Swedish clubs and organizations exist in many areas, and they will host Yule festivals and markets. I used to attend one in LA when I lived there, and it was rather nice. For some reason, I have a lot of emotion attached to Lucia. I grew up with strong ties to Sweden. In fact, I still have most of my family there. And for some reason, I always latched on to Lucia. Even as a child, I was in love with this holiday. There's something just so magical about Swedish Christmas time. It transcends all modern events, religion, and anything that's going on. It's a time that reminds us of who we are as people and how we are connected to the earth, something far greater than anything else that's going on. It's a time to honor this darkest time of year. It's a time to stay home and do some crafts and bake some delicious treats. It's really special, and I know it's something I will never let go of. Well, I share some fancy footage of my dress and my photo setup. I'd like to share the Swedish Lucia song, spoken though, in English translation, but first in the original Swedish. My Swedish has a very heavy American accent, and I hope the Swedes will appreciate my meager attempts at pronunciation. Natten går tunga fjät, run går och struva, kring jord som sol förlät, skuggorna ruva. Då i vårt mörka hus stiger med tända ljus, Sankta Lucia. Natten går stor och stum, nu hörs dess vingar. I alla tysta rum, sus som av vingar. Se på vår tröskel står, vitklädd med ljus i hår, Sankta Lucia. Mörkret ska flykta snart, jordens dalar, så hon ett underbart år till oss tålar. Dagen ska åter ni stiga rusig sky, Sancta Lucia. And in English, the night walks heavy round yard and hearth. Around earth which the sun has left, the shadows brood. There in our dark house rises with lit candles, Saint Lucia. The night goes big and silent. Now hear its wings, in all quiet rooms, whispering like wings. Look, on our threshold stands, dressed in white with light in her hair, Saint Lucia. The darkness will soon depart from the valleys of the earth, so she a wonderful word to us speaks. The day will be new again, rising from rosy sky, Saint Lucia. I want to direct you to some Lucia songs, so please check my description and have a listen. I am especially fond of Una Jensen's original version of the traditional Lucia song. Una doesn't know me, but she inspires me quite a bit. Every time I listen to this song, I feel it deep in my soul, and I hope you will enjoy it too. I hope you all have a joyous holiday season, no matter what traditions you celebrate. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon.